Finally, let's take a look at saving our document. Here we've got the riverwalk.jpg active at 100%, and if I were to save it at this point, it would actually want me to save it as a JPEG because that's the file I opened. The untitled document, let me change back to my move tool. The untitled document doesn't have a file extension yet, so that one will actually force me to save it as something else, but both of these options are available in both documents. Let's go ahead and choose File, and you'll see that you have the Save for Web and you have the Save As, or the Save. Remember, like in every program, if you choose Save at this point, Save will automatically open the Save As dialog box. Let's start with Save for Web. The Save for Web dialog box opens, and in this window we can actually see the various file formats we can save when saving for the web that are pretty standard and all computers can read. And it gives us a little preview window to let us know what the document would look like if we were to save it as that file format. So by default, when you choose Save for Web, it automatically goes to the GIF file format. And you'll see that we've lost some quality in the image, particularly around the brightly colored umbrellas. And at the bottom of our window, right below the preview, you'll see it says it's a GIF file format, and it shows us the speed at which it would take to actually load this file. So if I click on that menu just to the right of the megabits per second, you'll see I can choose different speeds depending on the connection that I have. Or maybe I'm thinking about my end user if I'm putting this on the internet, and I'm considering my target audience and who might be looking at this. For instance, if I'm working for a corporation and I'm saving to the intranet within the corporation, the speed's going to be a lot faster. Maybe we're making some in-house training. So we would expect that to probably be at least a T1 size. Worst case scenario is your modem. 9600 bits per second is your worst case modem. That's your old-fashioned dial-up modem. That would be your worst case scenario. You've got ISDNs, cable, DSL, and T1 lines. Cable and DSL are the most common internet connections people have in their homes today. So if we select any of those, you'll notice that the file size doesn't change, but the number of seconds changes based on the speed that we're selecting as our default. So in this case, it would take 4 seconds for this image to load. Certainly not a long time, and probably quick enough that someone wouldn't give up and actually leave our website if we took 4 seconds for it to load. On the right side of our window, you'll see there's a preset menu that allows us to change the type of GIF file that we're saving, and we can also choose JPEGs and PNGs. Because we're working with a photo, I would actually choose a JPEG. So let me go ahead and choose JPEG Medium and see what that does. You'll notice that my quality has changed to 30 here on the right, and it's called Medium. I can't really tell at this point how different it is from my original, so I could click on this original tab here on the left and click back and forth between the two to see the changes in my picture. And you'll notice here, again, if I'm focusing on the umbrellas, I can actually see a change between the two files. If I go to 2 up, I'll see my original on the top panel and my new format on the lower panel, and now I got a better comparison because I can see them at once. And then we have a 4 up option. The 4 up option creates 3 different versions of the same file format at different levels of quality. And you'll notice that the one at the bottom right corner is the lowest quality and the poorest looking image. And we're looking at 2 seconds to 1 second in loading that file on the internet. So certainly it would not be a good idea to change it to the 7 quality to get the smaller file size when you're not really gaining that much time and speed for the load time. But by selecting one of these images, you'll see this one's highlighted because of the highlight box around it. I can come over here and maybe I want to try a higher level. Let me go to very high. Now my quality is set at 80, and you'll see it takes 3 seconds to load. And look how much better a picture that is. Might look even better than the original. I can click on this box here in the lower left-hand corner. Let me change that one. We just used very high. Let's change this one to high. And you'll see our file size is almost half of what it is on the very high. And now we're down to 2 seconds from 3 seconds. And you can start to see the quality of the image disintegrate. So again, you need to consider how fast it's going to take to load and whether or not losing that quality is worth it based on the load time. In this case, probably not, because it's only 3 seconds to take to load the high-level image, and that's at a lower speed. Okay, that's your Save for Web dialog box. Again, if you're saving something, you know your end user or you know your file is going to be used on the internet, this is where you want to go when you're saving it. This window will actually help you choose the quality of your image, help you preview the speed of the load time, and make some really good decisions. Let's go ahead and click cancel because we're not going to save it. And let's go to File, Save As. In the Format menu, you'll see the list of file formats that Photoshop can save to. Again, it's quite substantial, similar to the one we saw for the opening or the place. And the Photoshop file format again is PSD. This will preserve your Photoshop document with everything that you've done to it so it can always come back and be edited. Once you save it to a JPEG, it's going to collapse all your layers and rasterize your image so that you can't edit it. You'll be committed to your change. I find it's always a good idea to keep your document as a backup in the Photoshop file format and then also save one in the file format the way you're going to use it. So you see we can save as JPEGs. We can also save as a variety of Photoshop files which are used with print shops. So if you're going through a commercial printer, they'll tell you what file format they want. We see Photoshop EPSs and we see Photoshop RAWs. And at the bottom we also see TIFFs. TIFF is another way that a document can be saved, preserving the layers. And that's much more universal between applications. So if you're working with a colleague or someone else who's going to be sharing a file with you and you want to keep your layers intact and they don't have Photoshop, they're using another program, saving it as a TIFF will allow you to do that. Again, we're not going to save this. We're just going to click cancel. And that's it for this section. I think we're ready to move on to actually starting to work with our documents.